who doesn't like dividends? I like. So I always was fascinated by task of finding a good source of dividends, right? And oh, it's actually lesson 3. And yeah, and so in this lesson we'll try to use scripting to find a good dividend company, or actually companies. And the problem, if you go and just go to companies list, and you find this column dividend yield, right, and order by dividend yield, you'll find some crazy dividend yields. But these companies are odd companies most of the time. They either have huge debt, or they're very tiny and stable, or whatever. So that they're not usually good companies to invest for dividends. And there are many criteria, but we'll do a simplified one, which will kind of try to balance all these things and find a decent source of dividend and reliable one. We'll use 3 parameters: dividend yield, the size of company, which will be capitalization, and the third one will be debt to assets ratio, or something similar to that. So let's do the for loop. Let's go through all the companies again, just like before. So we'll get the number of companies, ticker count, right? Ticker count, and we'll go from 0 to number of companies, and we'll get our ticker. Now we'll read all 3 parameters. So first one is dividend yield. Let's call it like this. Now again, to learn the parameters, let's actually go to help, and we'll get the list of parameters somewhere here. Get XBRL latest, oh, tag list right there. Dividend yield, that's the one we want, which is in percentages. We don't need this. Right, now we'll copy this line and do 2 more parameters. Utilization, and capitalization, which all the numbers are in millions, so we'll need to normalize this a little bit. And finally, I want something that represents debt risk a lot. Debt to capital is pretty good one. So this one is in percents. Well, let's print them out for each company to see what each number is, right? ticker. This is to separate the values, right? Okay, let's run this. So when we go up to more credible large companies, we can see that many of them don't pay dividend at all. That's the first number, right? Then capitalization is in millions, and this number goes all over the place, but this is clearly a percentage. So this changes from pretty much 0 to roughly 100%, right? Well, it can be more, but that will be crazy number. This one from 0 to 100% roughly, can be 200% of course, but that's the range. This one varies a lot. This one can go from 0 to, what is the largest company capitalization? It's probably like 2000 or 2 trillions for Apple, right? So we need to normalize this number. So let's divide it by largest company, 2000, and multiply by 100. So that's we kind of normalize this range of these numbers to be from 0 to 100, 100 being Apple, the largest company. Okay, so now 3 numbers are normalized. Now we'll do the magic formula of some sort. So that's what I do usually when you get all kinds of different parameters and you want to all of these parameters brought together and kind of optimized by this rank. I first make sure that the ranges for numbers are approximately the same, and then I do coefficients. So let's call this variable rank, and we add up all these numbers together. And we can have like alpha, beta, and gamma coefficients multiplied, but I think they will represent like how important each parameter is. So I would say for dividend I double it. Capitalization is quite important. Let's multiply it by just 0.5, and that is also important. And again, this is kind of represents your priorities in life. So that is can be important, but in current environment, high inflation environment, already taken that probably companies pay smaller. The cost of the debt is not that high. The one that was already taken before the inflation kicked in. So I would value this for 1 for now. And this, of course, depending on global market conditions, should be adjusted from time to time. But this is our rank. Now, roughly, it can be from like 0 to 100 or 300. So let's divide it by 3 to kind of move it to percentages as well. So it will be our percentage of how cool the company is for our purposes. So let's also print the rank, right? Save, run. All right. So we got this rank. Sometimes it can be above still because one of the other numbers is very high, but it shouldn't be outrageously big usually. So yeah, that's our number. And now this is still very useless kind of printout because it's not ordered, right? It's just you just printed all the companies, and it's not order it. You want to find the coolest pics, and that's where we need to learn about something new. We need to learn about um, a new type of variable. So far we dealt with variables which were usually string. So you would assign some string, right, or a number. And I think we did some booleans as well, which could be true or false. Now the new type or kind of variables that I want you to learn is called array, and it's depicted with this thing. So I just created a variable of array type, and how it works. By the way, because I want to show you quickly how these arrays work. I will show you how to comment stuff. So first of all, let's put it here at the beginning, and not really interested right now in this for loop. And the for loop, I just added a comment right there. So for now, I don't want this printing to happen, so it doesn't bother us. And this for loop will be essentially an empty for loop. Will not do much, will not print anything. So let's fixate just on this variable now. And here what I will show you is it's like a mailbox in a way. It has an address, and it has so this is my address 1, and I can put a value there. Let's put value 777, and let's put it another address, another value. So this is my address, this is my value. Now you can go through this array, you can iterate over this array. How you can do that is I think I had a template, maybe not, but let's do a for loop. Oh, I actually probably have something here. Yeah, this is a for loop for going through arrays. We're just interested in this for loop. So this is a special kind of for loop that uses this iPairs function. And again, you don't need to remember this, just use sorted ticker list template to get this for loop for you. And you really are looking for this key, which will be this address thing. And see, I'm printing the key, and I'm going through a variable called myvar. So for loop gets key for each address stored in myvar array, and it prints this key. So let's run this. So after I added this address and value into this array, or Lua I think calls it table, you can print these values. So they're stored in this sort of mailbox. And how to do it is again through the for loops, and it's a special kind of for loop where you have like a key and value pairs, and you write like for in, and then you use special function pairs, which stands for pair key and value, right? Pairs, and you use your array as an input, and then you just do that and now we can print the key and value. Key value. Here you go. Address 2 888, address 1 77. Now this is good, but now we also want to sort it, right? So we can sort it by actual value stored in the array. So to do that, I never remember that easily. So you can do it through one of these sorted ticker list, for example. So we don't need this part of the example. All we need is just this one line. Sorted keys. So that's the one we need. And sorted. So this creates a new variable, sorted keys, and the function name is get keys sorted by value. And input is your table or array. In this case, it's my var array. And the second argument is kind of crazy. You don't really need to fully understand it, I think, at this point. But essentially, it's a comparison function, and it's usually a more than b or a less than b. It depends what you want, in which direction you want to order the result. And this function will return this result in this new variable sorted keys. So let's put this here and run this. So what we got here is address 1, then address 2. So it's sorted keys based on the value. So in this case it was from smaller to larger number. And if you change this the other way, it will be the other way around. So now it's address 2 and then address 1. So that's how it works. You're actually getting the value here in this sorted result. This returns sorted keys. So so value here will be the actual key. So let's call it key. This variable is not important, so I call it stub. And we really just need the key. So let's do it one more time. So we got our key. Now you want to print the value again, right? Inside here. Now to do that, you actually can now use the property, the original mailbox, and you can retrieve the value by address. And how you do it is essentially with this syntax. So let's do that. Except here we use our key from this one. Address 2 888, address 1 77. And again, if we want to order it the other way around, seven seven eight eight. I think this is the most trickiest part to understand in this whole project, so try to rewatch this one more time to fully understand it. But now, once you understand that, we can order the results by rank and print them, and that will become a useful script at that point, right? So Let's now create a new array. So let's forget about this part for now. Let's fixate on our original for loop. So here we actually need to not print stuff immediately, but first we got our rank, we got our ticker. Let's create an array, ticker rank array. So new array, and we will put, so our address will be our ticker in this case. Our ticker is our address, and the value is our rank. So after this for loop ends, right here, we'll have a variable result with all the companies and their ranks. Now we'll sort it using this mechanism here. Actually, let's copy this whole thing. We don't need this anymore, since you guys understand it now very well, right? So let's have this sorted keys, and we'll sort it. We'll see whether this will be from less to, because we actually want the other way around, right? We are interested in the largest rank, and the input here will be our result. Sorted keys, and we'll print our key, and here we need result. The key will be ticker, the result will be the rank, right? Save. Let's run this. Right. So here's our result, and we get AMCR as our winner with incredibly large rank. So clearly there are some crazy outliers here that I do not like. I don't want to see them, honestly speaking. So probably anything reasonable starts at this level somewhere, and we will sort it. We'll remove crazy outliers. So how we do that? We essentially don't store the value here, so we'll use if statement first time, and what we'll do is we'll limit dividend to yield to reasonable numbers. Dividend yield should be below 20, and we'll also use another condition, the debt should be below, let's say this is a percentage debt, so let's below the 100, maybe 200. Let's be generous, and let's make sure capitalization, we're only really interested in the larger companies, so capitalization should be above, let's say 100% is Apple, right? So above 20%. Then, and so we just limited a little bit the range of companies we're interested in, and let's run that. Still a big list, still a few large numbers. I don't know where it comes from, those larger things. Let's store, you know what we can do? We can print this too. We can store this, and we can go to Notepad, and let's see. So one of these crazy numbers, let's see where it comes from. Oh look, we already have some good choices. Microsoft is one of the top, and then you actually have pretty good choices. I still don't understand why Microsoft has this huge number. Let's see, let's find Microsoft in the here. Okay, here we go. So this one was pretty small. Oh, what is that? This is too high. The middle number was capitalization. Why? So I probably messed up something here. So to of course. If you, I forgot that capitalization is in millions, right? So this is almost 2 trillion, right? My goodness, 2 trillions is such a big number. We actually need to cannot believe this is such a big number. These are millions, these are billions, and this is 1 trillion there. Jeez. Okay, I made a mistake. We need to actually divide by 2 million to get our good number in percentages. That's why we saw those crazy numbers. Now we know the reason, right? Okay, run. Okay, much smaller number list of companies, and the numbers are all very decent. And look at all these good suggestions here. Except Amazon doesn't pay dividend, right? So we got some suggestions of companies that don't have dividends, but they have such a big capitalization and low debt that they were picked by the system, right? So what we need to do in this case is to, yeah, they don't pay. So we need to add an if statement. The dividend yield needs to be also above certain number. And let's put here companies that above at least 1, right? At least 1% above. Here we go. How Amazon got here? Need to put more, right? Here we go. A relatively small list of companies that we can research now. Like we have JPM, this is Walmart here, and United Healthcare. These are very large companies that pay decent dividends. I know that, but you can research further and so on. You can of course change all these parameters and so on. But this is the power of scripting for you, and I would say this is a first useful script. Thank you guys.